Do we need collab? Testing. On. All good? Hey, Sam. We're both dressed in black today, coincidentally.
How are you?
I'm good. It's been a busy start to the quarter. Yeah. Excited to talk about some
round?
Yes. We'll talk about that.
Any interesting investors in your round?
Hopefully we'll disclose that in the press release.
Oh,
I know. Watch this space.
Oh, am I not allowed to say it yet?
Not yet, but
Oops.
I mean, you know.
I'm always like so like excited about these things. And, like, I was like saying things I'm not allowed to say.
Am I allowed to say that you put in money?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sam obviously invested in our company.
I'm excited. I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too. No pressure.
Thing is, if you get me on your cap table, then I'm like immediately a cheerleader.
I know you were a cheerleader before being on our cap table, anyways.
That's true, but
yeah, more so now. You've got ownership and stakes.
Yeah, I'm like a proper cheerleader. Any early detection or any like on the other side, like any like cancer
vaccines.
I'm like.
You've got your finger in every pie. Actually, this is a really good intro to our deals episode here, because we're going to talk about 3 deals that dropped in the past few weeks in early April, late March 2026. And I think these 3 deals are, looking at it together, show 3 different ways to create value in biotech. One is to use AI, AI systems to incorporate it into the whole company. The second is classic biotech pharma single asset acquisition. And then the third is platform play, specifically on ADCs. So like putting your bet on platform instead of single assets. But yeah, I thought these are like 3 emerging themes in biotech investments.
For sure. Super cool.
Yeah. So would you like to start with the first one?
You start.
I start.
Yeah.
It's your favorite though. It's in kind of in the metabolic space and AI.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with the intro. So this is a collaboration, a partnership between Novo Nordisk and OpenAI. So super interesting. We don't have much information on the financial terms of this partnership yet, but interesting context is, as everyone knows, Novo is the king of GLP-1s, and they still have the largest market share. But the biggest competitor to them, Eli Lilly, is catching up. And it looks like from some clinical trials that Lilly might surpass them. So they've got to kind of make a major move in order to give themselves an unfair advantage for the next generation of drugs. And a way to do that is to work with OpenAI to incorporate AI into every level in their company, not just the drug discovery part, but everything from manufacturing to commercial as well, which is really interesting. And as you mentioned in the previous episode, the competition is exploding with like multi-agonists, different delivery systems. So what do you think of this partnership?
The patent cliff is coming, right? 2030. So semaglutide Ozempic patent cliff is 2032.
2028 or no, sorry, 2032. You're right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Novo actually crushed it though. So I'm pretty sure. I was trying to fact check myself on this the other day, which I wasn't able to do. But I'm pretty sure that Novo have the fastest launching non-infectious diseases drug of all time as we speak, oral semaglutide. In obesity, the fastest launching of all time, with the exception of COVID and Hep C and some other things. Crazy. Anyway, but so now they've done this deal with OpenAI, and so I'm pretty sure the deal concerns this new model that OpenAI have released called GPT-Rosalind.
Such a nerdy name. I love it.
Named after
Rosalind Franklin,
who discovered DNA. With some help, I think. Without any help.
I like the way you framed that. She discovered it with some help, not the other way around. Yeah.
And so it's this GPT-Rosalind is this new model that OpenAI have trained, specifically trained for biology and for like laboratory science. And interesting thing is, so now they're rolling it out to like specific institutions like Novo.
Mm-hmm.
and they're not giving it to the general public, so we can't use it. And the reason is because they're worried about like biosafety.
Yeah. As in, like, if people were to use it for, with not good intentions.
Exactly, yeah. So there's this interesting use case on the website, right? So if you ask GPT 5.4 today for this question, just to give a bit of context about what it actually is. So given, and this relates to what you're doing, by the way. So given an LNP carrying methyl luciferase mRNA formulated at ionizable lipid, DSPC, cholesterol, PEG lipid, write a step-by-step in vitro protocol to test whether lowering PEG lipid from 1.5 to 1.0 mol percentage improves expression in primary. And at the moment, if you ask GPT 5.4, it tells you it's not going to give you the answer.
Really?
It's worried about biorisk.
What does it say?
It says,
It's like, is this against our guidelines?
It's like, I can help with the experimental design, but I cannot provide a step-by-step wet lab protocol, and so on.
Wow.
However, this new model, which is only available to like big pharma, it will give you a step-by-step protocol how to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, obviously they would use biosafety as the reason, but in reality, it's to give their other product an edge so that they can sell it, right? Because they can't sell something they're giving it to everyone else for almost free.
That's true. It's a good like enterprise USP.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's true.
Interestingly, obviously, like the CEO says, is not meant to cut out Novo's current workforce. They said it's supposed to lift productivity, just to calm everyone's fears around being replaced by AI.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good phrase is like, you're not going to get replaced by AI. You're going to get replaced by someone that's using
who
AI
knows how to
better than
use
you,
AI,
which I can like is already happening.
Absolutely is across all industries. Biotech is just one of them.
Like Meta last night laid off like 10% of their workforce, for example.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And another interesting use case of the tool I thought was as follows. This is really interesting because it sounds like I'm asking the question. It's exactly the kind of question I ask AI, right? So it's talking about Alzheimer's disease. So it says, use the clinical trial skill to identify all of the phase 2 or beyond trials in Alzheimer's for these targets, ApoE, TREM2, and APP, and describe the success or failure of each trial in the context of existing biological evidence. Did the trials fail due to incorrect biological hypotheses or for other reasons? So it's like trained specifically to answer questions like that. So it's very cool. Very cool.
It is super cool. It's like having I don't know, like a professor at like as your consultant, but like trained on like actual biological data sets and studies, and they're probably going to feed their in-house data sets into this model.
100%.
And that's like a flywheel for creating a strategic moat and just expediting the process from drug discovery to like target selection. Because now, like, obviously, like drug development timelines are really long, and like the most obvious use case for AI in this context would be to identify the drug candidates faster and go through the attrition process faster, which is like what usually takes years in biotech. But also like a non-obvious use case that I didn't think of was they were going to, OpenAI will help train Novo employees on how to use AI tools.
That's nice.
So apart from just like making the model better with these data sets and like letting them use it for scientific means, they're also trying to empower the workforce by teaching them how to use different AI tools.
That's cool. I mean, that's nice. Yeah, and like de-risking like drug development and clinical trials as well, for example. Like I was thinking, like if I was Novo and I had access to this tool, what would I do with it? And for example, you might say, okay, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Rosalind, please find me a new obesity asset, right? Look through all of our data, which we have, look through all of the genetic evidence, look through blah, 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 and find us a new obesity asset, and then like help us design the early experiments to test it out and to help us figure out what to do, for example. And they might land on like GPR 75.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way,
you're still talking about
the top genetic hit in obesity, way stronger than anything else. But so
why haven't people done it yet?
So they have. Apparently it's really hard to drug. But maybe we need some help from AI to drug
exactly. It's just like we know what to drug, now help us drug it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a really cool strategy from Novo to, go kind of all in on like this AI integration system.
Yes.
It's obviously gonna cost them a lot of money, but hopefully it'll be worth it. And also, there's a lot of competition between OpenAI and Anthropic with Claude, because recently people are saying that Claude is surpassing ChatGPT in coding.
If you look on so I tried to buy private shares in OpenAI and Anthropic on the secondary markets this week. I wasn't able to do it because you have to buy like £100,000, which I wasn't able to do. But if you look at the private, then you can get an idea of the market cap or the valuation of the companies. So Anthropic is now past $1 trillion, and OpenAI is like 850 bill. So Anthropic is actually already more valuable than OpenAI, which to me is insane. But there you go. So they've crushed it on coding. Exactly. They've crushed it on enterprise. OpenAI have done better on like the consumer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like everyday consumer versus like enterprise users. And also, like, I know Anthropic is trying to differentiate themselves by saying they hire all these philosophers to make sure that like Claude stays ethical.
Yes.
Which I mean, that's a rabbit hole, but I can talk about that with you at the pub. But yeah, super cool. Well, moving on to the second deal, another big pharma with impending patent cliff. Merck MSD, obviously they are famous for Keytruda, their checkpoint inhibitor in immuno-oncology, which accounts for 40% of their revenue, I believe, or more.
We did the analysis last episode.
Yeah, we did. Basically half their revenue on this one drug that's about to...
When is the cliff?
2028. Yeah, I was
Still
confusing.
got a few years left.
That's only 2 years.
Wow, I'm surprised. I thought it was sooner. Okay, cool.
No, I mean, that's still really soon.
It is.
So they've made a lot of moves with, acquisitions of Verona and Sedara for like, I forgot, like 9 and 10 billion to try compensate for the revenue they'll lose from the Keytruda patent cliff. But this next acquisition between Merck and Terns Pharmaceuticals is supposed to be another compensation strategy deal, I would say. So Terns Pharmaceuticals and Merck, they've agreed to a 6.7 billion all cash buyout, mainly for this leukemia asset. And their crown jewel is this asset called Terns 701, and it's an oral treatment for chronic myeloid leukemia, which is a rare cancer of the blood and bone marrow, and it's caused by a genetic mutation. And interestingly, there's a bit of drama in this deal as well. I think like there's a shaving off of 1 billion from the.
How come?
Apparently there's some competition or basically uncertainty over the data, but it basically shows you how fragile these like biotech one asset deals are.
Really?
Yeah, so it was supposed to be 1 billion
like
more.
Pipeline competition for other inhibitors for CML, but also concerned about the data itself.
Yes, exactly.
That's so interesting. I mean, you can imagine that even like 1 percentage point change in like a safety event or like an efficacy event would easily change things by like 1 billion.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So I'm not surprised. That's very interesting. Also, it's early, right? So the data come from phase 1, 2. So
Phase 1, 2, exactly.
There's a lot of uncertainty at that point about how well. It's not phase 3 data. It's not head to head. It's phase 1, 2. So it's
exactly, which is why I mean I'd love to ask you, like, do you think it's still smart for big pharma to make bets like this on a single asset, early data? But it's more like whereas like Novo was doing the whole like platform, like AI integration throughout every layer. This is like the traditional, let's buy the bullet instead of buying like, I don't know, a strategy or like a flywheel. This is like, it's supposed to be a short bet, but it's either like a hit or miss. It's
100%.
either going to be like a blockbuster or it's going to completely flop.
100%. So I had a look at the like comparative effectiveness of Terns drug versus the current best therapy. And I think that's what they've done as well. And if you look at the numbers, then you start to get a bit more confident. So just a bit of background quickly. So the the CML, chronic myeloid leukemia, is typically driven by this gene fusion protein, BCR-ABL. And it's quite interesting. So it's like the ABL gene and the BCR gene usually are separate, but they come together.
They fuse.
And then they produce a fusion protein. And the BCRs oligomerize with each other, and the ABLs then phosphorylate each other. And if ABL phosphorylates itself, it's active, it's constantly active, and it just goes. So the first generation drugs in this condition just inhibit ABL, and it's fine.
Yeah.
The second generation drug is from Novartis, asciminib. It's like a $4 billion a year drug, big drug. And it's an allosteric inhibitor of BCR-ABL. Is better than the initial TKIs, tyrosine kinase inhibitors. This new drug, TERN-701, is meant to be a better version of asciminib, which is like a more potent, doesn't have some of the safety signals of asciminib, and also it's a big kind of adherence factor that asciminib you can't take with food.
Wow.
So you have to fast for a bit before and after. So which drops adherence, which drops efficacy.
Yeah.
Whereas TERN-701, you don't have to worry about that. So looking at the actually it's not head-to-head, it's like cross-trial comparisons. But so there's this, they look at two things. They look at major molecular response, which is the reduction in BCR-ABL transcripts measured by qPCR.
Yeah,
You're an expert in that.
simple.
And the other one is deep molecular response, which correlates with remission, long-term remission. So just to give you the numbers, so with asciminib, major molecular response in this condition, they get about 24%. With TERN-703, they get about 75%. That's 3 times.
Wow,
That's much
that
better.
is a huge difference.
And for deep molecular response, so this correlates with long-term remission or even cure.
How do they measure that? Do you know?
Same. So so it's a different level of eradication of the BCR-ABL transcripts.
Yeah.
So major molecular response is like less than 0.1%.
Yeah.
Deep molecular response is like less than 0.001%.
Wow, got it.
And so with asciminib, deep molecular response is about 14% versus TERN about 36%.
That's huge. Everything's more than double. Yeah.
And this is already the best standard of care. It's widely used, $4 billion a year drug, and they beat it. And probably safer. So that's what Merck is looking at, I'm pretty sure. And they're
thinking like this is going to get us at least 4 billion or probably more a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be honest, these markets get bigger as well. So today the market's 4 billion a year. People are getting older,
getting cancer more.
Exactly.
And
this is an age-related condition. The market is getting bigger. More people are having this condition. It's going to get bigger. It's not going to get smaller.
Yeah. So that's why it justifies this huge number.
Yes. Exactly. So that was a long way to answer your question. Yes, I think it's a good idea. There you go.
It's like even just from like the way you like justified it from the point of view of Merck MSD, you can tell like there are a lot of facts and like the context of the indication, what's the best standard of care out there. Yeah. Versus like a blanket like system integration. So this is like kind of like for the traditional scientist who wants to know, all the facts and likelihood of have a sure likelihood of success. This will be here for a while. Like I don't think we're gonna let go of like a single asset acquisition in biotech. And there are trends. It sometimes swings from like platform to a single asset, but when markets are not doing so well, people like go back to assets because they are like reassured by all these like direct comparisons they can make. Yeah,
100%. Interesting. And that goes back to like Daraxonrasib and Revolution Medicines. Those guys have basically one drug, like one asset, like Daraxonrasib, and they were almost bought earlier in the year for like, I don't know, 25, 30 bill. And now the market cap on new data has reached that level on its own with one drug. So there are definitely big pharma buying individual companies with individual assets all the time.
Yeah, and it's the thing with Revolution Medicines is what's interesting is it's not. They've got the single asset, but it can also be applied to so many different cancer types.
That's true.
And that's a good thing about
extremely novel. Yeah, it's definitely it's amazing. Yeah,
it is so cool. Anyways, moving on to the third deal. This would be what I call a platform play. So ADCs are extremely hot, especially after the very successful ADC from AstraZeneca and Daiichi Sankyo, where they made the ADC for targeting breast cancer. I think it's called, what's it called? Enhertu? I think that's what it's called. But before this like blockbuster success of this ADC for breast cancer, ADCs were kind of people had a lot of uncertainty. There were lots of like potential toxic side effects, and sometimes the efficacy wasn't like guaranteed depending on how good the chemistry is. Because what an ADC is, it's an antibody-drug conjugate. There's an antibody, which is kind of like, you can think of it as like a guided missile, and the antibody is the guidance system, and the drug is the payload, which is the warhead, and they're both linked with these like very clever chemistry. It's called a linker, but how you design that linker can determine how efficacious the drug is. And basically, in this case, Gilead Sciences is acquiring this Germany-based company, Tubulis, for not only their ADC asset in ovarian cancer and other solid tumors like non-small cell lung cancer, they're also buying them for their ability to continuously make more ADCs.
Interesting.
So
the particular way, like their way to make the linkers and the chemistry and all that stuff is what they really like.
Yeah.
And they're buying the entire platform rather than the drugs on their own.
Exactly.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And it's been de-risked by AstraZeneca, right? After like they've shown like a huge success. So they're kind of like riding the hype train.
ADCs are super hot. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't used to be this hot. When we were doing our PhDs, they were just they looked really interesting and sexy, but it wasn't like a sure bet. But now everyone is going into ADCs.
Interesting. And it's a private company, by the way. Tubulis is a private company. I tried to look up their corporate deck, and I was like, why can't I find a corporate deck? Because they're private.
Oh, they're private. Is that very German to stay private?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say like, and their lead asset is a top 1 inhibitor. And that I know we've used top 1 inhibitors in our time in our PhDs.
We have.
And this is currently in phase 1B 2 for platinum-resistant ovarian cancer and non-small cell lung cancer.
It's early, but I had a look again at their asset. So Tub-040, is that what it's called? Tub-040 against the current standard of care. By the way, the current standard of care in platinum-resistant ovarian cancer just got updated recently. So they use nab-paclitaxel, which is a chemotherapy, but now they add, so the new standard of care based on this new trial, which has just got approved, relacorilant. So it's
what's that?
It inhibits glucocorticoid signaling, like cortisol signaling.
Okay.
And actually, it's not anti-cancer on its own, but in combination with chemotherapy, it stimulates the effect of chemotherapy and makes it more effective. So it kind of overcomes from resistance. So, and I had a quick look the overall response rate, the objective response rate in platinum-resistant ovarian cancer for the best standard of care is about 37%.
Mm-hmm.
With Tubulis's drug, it's in the early trials, it's about 60%. So it's early, but it looks that's really impressive. It's almost
that's
twice
definitely
as high.
moving the needle.
So again, they're looking at that. They're looking at like what's the best standard of care, and then this new drug, what's the kind of cross cohort comparison to see how effective it is.
Wow.
And is a NaPi2b ADC. So it binds this sodium transporter, which is on the surface of ovarian cancer cells.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have it's common enough that you don't have to like select certain patients. You don't have to kind of do the biomarker panel and select patients. You just
that makes it a lot easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People have it at a sufficiently high level, kind of across the board, and it's like a top one.
Top one. Do you know what
NaPi2b.
top one inhibitor is on there? It's not one that's already being used in clinic, right?
Topotecan?
Oh,
Is it? I think so. Something like that.
yeah. I'm always interested in how like the drug in ADCs is not approved as a drug alone because they're so toxic.
Oh no, sorry. It's Exatican. Exatican.
Exactican.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a top one inhibitor because of the can
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end.
Like irinotecan and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But yeah, this is also another strategic move because Gilead, they're historically famous for HIV and antivirals. And now I think they're trying to spread their portfolio a little bit more by going into oncology. And they're also facing their own patent cliffs. And now there's this like ADC arms race. So they kind of don't want to lose out.
super interesting.
Yeah.
They have lenacapavir, by the way, the HIV drug.
Yeah.
The breakthrough
The standing ovation of
yeah.
100% efficacy drug.
Literally, it's 100%. They have a drug that's 100% effective against HIV.
Yeah.
To stop HIV, prevent it in the first place.
Yeah.
Not even to treat it, to stop it happening in the first place. Wow, 2 times a year.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite
Incredible.
drug. Lenacapavir. See, I'm a cheerleader of them as well. I don't hold the stock though.
Not sponsored.
No, not yet. Anyway,
Yeah.
there we go. Amazing. Anything
Yeah,
else?
super cool. I mean, like overall, what do you think of the 3 strategies? You've got AI integration, you've got single asset acquisition, and then you've got this like riding the trend of going for the hottest platform. If you ran a big pharma, which one would you go for? Which strategy?
I mean, I would definitely go like AI native for sure. I would partner with OpenAI. I would go completely native from the ground up. I think that needs to happen today. And I speak to some pharmaceutical companies, and they are all doing that. They are like obsessed with AI, as they should be.
Yeah.
And then I like individual assets. I think it's risky for sure. It's risky. Sometimes you get like drug in a like platform as a drug as well, right? Like I guess daraxonrasib in a sense is like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like one asset, but it can be used for different inhibitors, but also different cancer types. So maybe I would go for one of those, or something like highly novel but individual.
Yeah,
asset.
like a one asset, yet also scalable to more than the current indication or its current form.
Well, but like platform, would you consider Infinitopes like a platform company?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the initial part of our therapeutic development is definitely platform based because you can apply it to, like different target discovery, different like mass spec based antigen discovery. But for the actual applying it to an indication, you need like deep expertise and knowledge. Like, what's the best standard of care? How do you compare it? What are things like specific? For example, like our first trial is in esophageal cancer. What's the specific biology behind esophageal cancer that I need to consider? So those things are the things that are not as platform applicable, but like you get an edge by starting with that platform. So like you need like a bit of both, basically.
I was wondering this week. So your guys' trial is in esophageal adenocarcinoma, right?
Yeah.
So you give the vaccine before and after surgery?
Yes, it's going to be a chemo, vaccine, surgery, and then vaccine again.
Chemo, vaccine, surgery, vaccine. Got it.
Yeah.
I was wondering as well, because there's a really, really, really well-established pre-cancer state in esophageal adenocarcinoma, which is Barrett's esophagus.
Yeah.
And there was actually a paper this week which shows that like absolutely 100% of people who get esophageal adenocarcinoma have Barrett's first. So I was wondering,
like, can you go even earlier?
So maybe you'd have to like enrich for the very high risk Barrett's patients, but why not vaccinate those guys?
That's definitely, that's definitely doable. I think the only thing from a startup point of view is it takes longer to follow up with the results, but that's a natural progression of where we would go next, I think.
Would it be different antigens? Would you need to make a new vaccine?
That's a really interesting question because like like chemo alone can change your antigen landscape. So you have to again look at the standard of care. Like you have to think about the healthcare pathway. Where can you intervene? So these are the complexities that we have to take into account. But like that would be the natural progression of where this goes. Like other cancer vaccines or BRCA carriers, BRCA mutation carriers, and like Lynch syndrome patients are being developed, and those are really good use cases of preventative cancer vaccines.
There's a big trial happening in the UK at the moment where it's cytosponge, where people with Barrett's have a kind of sponge that goes down into the esophagus, and you grab the cells
to do early diagnosis of esophageal cancer.
So you could imagine, like, if you guys like partnered with those guys, you could figure out what the antigens are and then build a vaccine against them, for example.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that, I could definitely see that happening. I'd love that, because then we could really be doing like cancer prevention, like cancer prevention interventions. That's
early detection and then early intervention.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Exciting times.
Amazing. Please do that. I'd love that. Yeah.
Give me a few years. Working on it.
Cool.
Well, good to see you, Sam.
You too.
That's amazing. Can't wait to see what happens in the next few months.
Me too. Ciao.
Ciao.